auspicious, very, I should say, a wonderful gathering of all the scholars who are going to India, under scholarship of course, which is a recognition and acknowledgement of their talent and merit. So I thank our Honorable, our Assistant High Commissioner, His Excellency Dr. Rajiv Ranjan. He's a medical doctor, so I should have said Dr. Rajiv. So today, the gathering here, before I start, I'd like to pay my respect to the memory of our father of the nation, especially on this month of August, when we lost him at the hands of some brutal assassinators. And I also pay my respect to the memory of our martyrs of our glorious liberation war, and also our women who were brutally violated and abused by the Pakistani army during the wartime. Today, Indian High Commission has gathered here, has gathered all the scholars who will be going to India, and His Excellency Assistant High Commissioner has rightly said that India had been the center of higher learning well before the concept of universities even came out in the West. You mentioned Takshashila and also Nalanda. We know that in this subcontinent, where Bangladesh is of course a part of, scholars from different parts of the world, especially I should say in the parts of the world where there was no civilization, Europe for example, we shouldn't class it as so, because invaders came from there and took over our land and destroyed our civilization in many ways, and destroyed all the learnings that we have developed in this part of the world. So in terms of higher learning and institutional learning, we have a much more ancient heritage here in the subcontinent. And fortunately for India, she was able to continue what began thousands of years ago, which in the rest of the neighboring countries, it didn't happen with the same sort of zeal and same sort of process. But India stuck to its past quality education, and for many years, Bangladeshi students had found Bangladeshi students had heritage, almost like a cultural practice, where they looked up to India for higher education, even in school level. I remember when I was a student in my secondary school. My father felt that I should be sent to India for secondary schooling. I was sent, but I didn't last long. I was not that good in my studies, but I also had other issues like I was homesick and all. So I left India after just a year at Ramakrishna Mission, which was in Kolkata. Afterwards, he tried to put me in a school in Darjeeling. I was afraid of heights, and I literally left my admission test papers empty, so that they can't send. There was no way that I could have been put there. So, but beyond the school education, in higher education, as His Excellency has clearly mentioned here, Silicon Valley and other technology hubs are now being occupied literally by Indian graduates. Yesterday I was speaking to someone who is an investment banker in London. He had his education in Switzerland, and he was telling me that most of their operations, especially in banking and finance, a lot of the large European and American businesses, financial services providers are having their back office, not just back office. In fact, nowadays almost the CEOs to their front leadership, the front-facing leadership from India. And he went to my university, LSE, but he was telling me the quality of graduates from India is astounding. Because, not just because of the sheer size of Indian population, but also the manner in which they are taught in their higher educational institutions, where the institutions are not ran for profit. Indian institutions are not providing educational services in order to make profit, and that is a fundamental difference from the West. In that, even a difference from it is a qualitative difference from Chinese universities and universities in Southeast Asia, because often once a country reaches a point where they have a large higher education sector, they try to, of course, make money out of it. Whereas India historically have taught students from Bangladesh and Sri Lanka, Nepal. I'm not sure how many students are coming from Pakistan, because I have met Pakistani students in London. They were so impressed with the Indian education system and higher education as well. Afghanistan, for that matter, as well. And also students from Central Asian countries have traditionally gone to India and studied and obtained quality education at a very reasonable fees structure, by paying a very reasonable fees. You lot are going, of course, under scholarship, so fees is not an issue for you. But those who are paying for their higher education, India offers a tremendous value. But in comparison to India, when we look at the West, let's say Canada or United States or United Kingdom, where I spent almost 10 years of my life in the United Kingdom, they definitely run their higher education for profit. Because, of course, there's not much that they export abroad. So that has become one of the biggest export. And but when you look at the manner in which the courses are taught, often the teacher-student interaction is very limited. And at undergraduate level especially, most of the studies are left for the students to do. So a lot of it is actually self-study. Whereas I've heard that, of course, self-study is a core component of higher education, but in Indian institutions, students have, for many different reasons, whether for cultural, linguistic, or other social reasons, students are able to access their the tutors and the professors far more easier than let's say in the West. There is definitely a cultural familiarity. In India and Bangladesh, we share, I should say, the same blood, if you like, because we've shed blood together in 1971. Culturally speaking, it's the same culture that we both have. There are so many similarities in terms of food, weather, culture, religion, so many things. So when it comes to learning, and the term that we use in education, the learning outcome, achieving the learning outcome, the Bangla term for it is Shikhon Fall. Students learn far more when they are in a comfortable setup, when they're not struggling for every dollar or penny that they have to spend. Whereas it's a completely different story in the West, where weather is not favorable, the culture isn't, linguistically it's different, socially it's of course fundamentally different. So students learn better, learn more, and their learning is strong enough to apply. So when it comes to Indian higher education, we always hold it in high regard, encourage our students to look worldly and upwardly and look up to India. India is a nation where high-end professionals of the West and the East are being produced. So, so congratulations to all of you for, first of all, having the place at the educational institutions where you have been admitted or accepted, and secondly for winning the scholarship of Indian High Commission, which is a wonderful arrangement, and we would like to thank Indian government for this, because the scholarship is not just just a financial aid. It is a recognition of an individual student's merit and their educational capacity. So it's an honor, of course, to win the scholarship. So we salute all of you, all the winners of IHC scholarship scheme, the Subarno Jayanti scheme, the term that has been used. And we hope that you will return to this country. And what usually happens in the West is that when students go, they accrue tremendous level of debt. People have to sell their properties to send their offsprings to the West, and there is then that pressure that what has been spent must be earned back, or at least paid back to the parents by way of being the breadwinner of the family. So the pressure is far more, and then of course people have no choice but to find a place of work in the West, and then eventually the settlement happens, they start living there, naturalized, and we lose our people. Our the term that we use is brain drain. That happens when it comes to students going to the West. Often nowadays parents do worry when they send their children to the UK or the Canada. They feel that they're not going to come back ever, because they get detached from our culture, meaning of course subcontinental or Indian culture, so much so that they have literally culture shocks when they come back. Even food habits change, outlook in life changes. But when we go to India, we do not feel we are away from home. But India itself is literally a small world, because from the Arctic to the down south, India offers such enormous variety and diversity of weather, culture, society. Every state is different. So someone was telling me, if you've been to India and you've traveled across India in different states, you've actually literally almost traveled the world. Please enjoy your time in India. Education is not just an academic journey. Education is also a social journey, a journey of enlightenment. And I hope that by exposing yourselves to India as a country and so many different communities, culture, religion, languages, whether you will have that nirvana that every student should achieve as part of their education and as a goal of that education, and broaden their mind and horizon and improve their career, their employability, their future career prospects, etc. And we hope that all of you will return back to Bangladesh and contribute in the development of Bangladesh, because Bangladesh needs all of you. We do, as you know, that we do employ a large foreign population in this country in many different sectors. A large population comes from India as well, because of course they have the skill, they have the education and knowledge. Now that is a challenge when it comes to foreign currency for us. We would like you lot who are going to India to come back and contribute here. We have now many well-paid jobs. We do have stability in this country where meritorious people will find a niche in our all the sectors where foreign workers are working. So we would like to, I mean, from my side at least, the request will be that constantly you remind yourself of your duty. That this is a gift from the Indian people to contribute in our subcontinent, and by coming back to Bangladesh, you are contributing in that common goal of the subcontinent, in the India-Bangladesh relationship itself, where not just it's that you will assist our economic progress, social progress, but also all of you are ambassador in that Indo-Bangladesh relationship, and you will have to uphold that. With this, I think I've said far more than I actually planned, but please keep in mind that the world is also your your sector for jobs, because you will be a global citizen. So wherever you want to go with the Indian education, you will meet those prerequisites. But make sure that for work and career, for many things, people go abroad, go to different countries. But keep in mind that this is an investment in you from the people of India, from the government of India, and Bangladesh government has an expectation that that investment will pay dividend for all of us, meaning Bangladesh also. So with this note, I end my speech here, and once again I would like to thank our Chittagong, and hopefully wish you all the best in your future journey. Thank you very much. Joy Bangla, Joy Bangabandhu. May Bangladesh-India friendship live forever. Thank you.